If you are on Social Security or disability benefits, I have great news. There's a forecast for the 2026 Social Security cost of living adjustment, and they are calling it the Trump bump. It means that the forecast is higher than expected, and I will bring all the latest news about that to you. In fact, this was what caught my eye when I was researching this. The Motley Fool said a Trump bump is being forecasted into Social Security's 2026 cost of living adjustment. And they want to talk to you about how much you are likely to get in extra benefit because of that Trump bump. Now, the headline goes on to say that estimate for Social Security cost of living adjustments are trending higher, and President Trump looks to be the catalyst behind the boost. So, what does I want to bring that to you and explain how this impacts your benefits in a minute. My name is Kwame Kwade. I am a government benefits expert. I have been helping seniors for 15 years get the retirement benefits they deserve. I create content on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, and any personal finance issues that affect seniors in and out of Congress. Now, if you are new here, thank you for being here. I would like you to do me a favor, go into the comments and let me know your city and your state. And if you've been watching my videos for a while now, thank you for returning. I appreciate you. So let's get to this breaking news and this headline from the Motley Fool, the Trump bump. So what is this about? Well, let me set the stage for this. The Social Security cost of living adjustment is the most anticipated number when it comes to seniors on Social Security and disability benefits. And the way it works is that in the third quarter of each year, the government looks at cost of goods and services for the third quarter in July, August, and September. And if prices have gone up, then they are going to adjust your Social Security benefits, and they're going to make the announcement in October. And then it kicks in January the following year. For context, this year you got a 2.5% bump. Now, what the Motley Fool is saying is that because of the President Trump's tariffs and the fact that they're anticipating that inflation is going to continue to rise, that they expect the cost of living adjustment to go much higher than it's been before in recent years. Now, recently, the headline that I got about the inflation is that inflation is going high. And here is the headline that recently came up, and that this was the New York Times, that monthly inflation has started going up again. Well, what does that mean for you? Well, it means that if they are looking at July, August, and September, and inflation is going up, it means that your cost of living adjustment is supposed to trend up. So I'm going to go into the Monthly Full article and explain to you how they are coming to the conclusion that the Trump bump is going to give you a significant increase in your cost of living adjustment for 2026. But right now, if you look at the June inflation numbers, prices of goods and services for a lot of things have gone up and stayed up. So you have non-alcoholic beverages, fuel, electricity, gasoline of all types, fruits and vegetables, hospital services, utility gas, tobacco, food away from home. If you are dining out, that has gone up. Apparel, if you're buying clothing, rent has also gone up. Physician services, so if you go to the doctor, how much you're paying out of pocket. Motor vehicle repair and maintenance has also gone up. Medical care, commodities, it means that things you're buying for personal care that are medical related has also gone up. Alcoholic beverages and motor vehicle insurance. So pretty much everything that falls into the goods and services category has pretty much gone up. Very few things have gone down. And there were things that have been rising at an alarming rate that it's good news that they are coming down slightly. So you can see the prices of meat, for poultry and fish and eggs have gone down. Egg prices have been going up all year. So it's good news that it's gone down by a tiny percent. But the point is that prices of goods and services, majority have gone up. And so then let's go to the article from the Motley Fool, and then let me explain to you why they are saying what they are saying and why they are expecting the Trump bump. So the article is saying that For overwhelming number of retirees, Social Security provides more than just a paycheck. It's nothing short of a foundational puzzle for financial well-being. In each of the last 24 years, Gallup has asked retirees to gauge the importance of their monthly benefits from Social Security. Consistently, 80 to 90% of respondents, including 86% in April 2025, know that their Social Security income was necessary to some degree to cover expenses. So a lot of seniors depend on their Social Security benefits, and the cost of living adjustment is one of the most important numbers that seniors look for when it comes to Social Security. So now, why is COLA so important? Well, it's because that is the increase that seniors expect on their Social Security to track inflation. And as I mentioned, over the last 10 years, seniors have lost a lot of purchasing power because COLA has not kept up with inflation. And so this year, a lot of seniors are expecting a much higher cost of living adjustment to make up for all the price increases that seniors have experienced. So, why is that important? Because without that adjustment, then it means that seniors are falling behind again, even though the government's own record is showing that inflation has gone up and that prices of goods and services have started to go back up. So you would expect that cost of goods and services going up means that your cost of living adjustment for 2026 should significantly go up. So let's go back to the article and look at what they are saying regarding that. So they're saying that, before 1975, there was no rhyme or reason as to how COLA was calculated. And then Congress came up with a formula that they've been using since 1975. And that formula is the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. That became the inflationary tool that Congress has been using to calculate cost of living adjustment. The problem with that measure is that it does not track how seniors spend their money. And I'm going to talk about that at the end of this video. So stay with me, but let's finish reading this article. So the interesting quirk in the cost of living adjustment is that only the CPIW reading from the third quarter matters. So everything that happens the whole year, everything that happens with your spending the whole year does not matter. Only the CPI for July, August, and September matters. So prices of goods and services could have risen January all the way through June, and it's not going to matter. The only prices that matter is July, August, and September. So now that we are in July, the Social Security Administration is going to be looking at those list of goods and services based on the CPIW and then adjust your benefits accordingly. So now let's go back to the article and see what it's saying. So this is where inflation is right now. So as you can see, inflation, according to the government, has been stable until June. All of a sudden in June, inflation went up to 2.7%. So if it keeps up the way it is, it means that the minimum Social Security bump you can get, in my mind, based on what experts are saying, is at least 2.7%, based on just what inflation is doing. Because if you can see the graph, inflation has been stable the last few months and trending down. And then all of a sudden in June, we got this report that inflation is back up again. And a lot of people are saying it's because of the tariffs. I'm not sure if that's true. So if you know why inflation has started going up again, let me know in the comments, because I am scratching my head about why inflation is back up again. But many experts think it's the tariffs. I'm not too sure. Let me know what you think. But let's keep reading this article. So inflation is going up. And so now what are the experts saying the cost of living adjustment should be? Well, it says forecast suggests a Trump bump will boost Social Security benefits in 2026. So Social Security COLA has been all over the map since 2010. During the 2010s, beneficiaries endured 3 years of deflation. It means that prices went down, during which no COLA was passed. It means if you were collecting Social Security benefits in 2010, 2011, and 2016, you got the smallest COLA. You got no increase at all. And then in 2017, you got 0.3%. And then COVID hit, and then we got 5.9% in 2022, 8.7% in 2023, which was the largest in 41 years. Why am I telling you all this? Because I'm trying to set the stage so that you understand where this is going. Because traditionally, COLA has been in the 2% range. But when COVID hit, it went all the way to 5.9% in 2022, 8.7% in 2023, which was the largest in 41 years. And then 2 years ago, it was 3.2%. So it started coming back down. And then this year, it's 2.5. So with the average COLA over the last 16 years being around 2.3%, what can you expect based on what experts are talking about? So let's get to that. So in the article is saying that in mid-January, less than a week before President Trump was inaugurated for his non-consecutive second term, the nonpartisan senior advocacy group, the Senior Citizens League, was forecasting a 2.1% cost of living adjustment for 2026. So what does that mean? Well, the Senior Citizens League is the most respected organization when it comes to forecasting Social Security cost of living adjustment. They have been doing it for years, so everybody pays attention to what they have to say. And early this year, they came out and said, based on what they are seeing, they think COLA for 2026 will be 2.1%. Well, a lot has changed since then. So let's continue with the article. So basically, they came out with 2.1%. Meanwhile, the Social Security and Medicare policy analyst, Mary Johnson, who retired as a policy analyst for the Senior Citizen League, last year was projecting 2.2% for COLA as of recently, mid-March. Then everything changed. But following the release of the June inflation report from the US Bureau of Labor Statistics last week, which I just talked to you about, I told you that just recently the US Department of Labor came out with an inflation report that shows that inflation has started going up. And so now all bets are off because 2.1%, 2.2% is not going to cut it anymore. It has to go higher. So now the question is, how high should it go based on what inflation is going to do in the next 3 months? And so what they are saying in this article is that because of the US Department of Labor's last week report, the Senior Citizens League and Johnson, the lady Mary Johnson, who worked for the Senior Citizens League, have now revised their 2026 COLA forecast to 2.6 and 2.7 respectively. So the Senior Citizen League is saying that it's going to be 2.6%, but Mary Johnson is saying it's going to be 2.7. This increase is prominently based on expectation of inflation tied to President Trump's tariff and trade policies. So the point is that right now, as we sit here in July 2025, the experts are saying that your cost of living adjustment for 2026 is going to be 2.6 or 2.7%. Well, that is where we are today. But if inflation continues to trend up in July, in August, and September, I would not be surprised if we are in the 3% category or even higher, depending on how fast inflation goes. So the point is that this is still a very fluid situation. And my prediction is that it is much closer to 3% than it is to 2.6% because the June inflation is the beginning of a trend that I think is about to happen where prices are going to be creeping up over the next few months. And it means that your Social Security benefits at least should go up by 3%. That's what I think is going to happen based on what the trend is. But let's read more. So it is saying that how much should you expect based on the latest forecast? How much should you expect? Well, They are saying that according to this Senior Citizens League, a 2.6% COLA will boost the average monthly benefit for retirees, which topped $2,000 for the first time in May, by $52. So if you are receiving Social Security retirement benefits, if there is a 2.6% increase, it's going to be about a $50 increase. But if you are getting a 3% increase, then you get to about, 58, almost $60 increase. If you're on disability benefits, your benefits are likely to go up by $41 next year minimum, all the way to maybe $49, depending on whether we're getting a 2.6% or a 3% increase. So that is the background of what's happening. But the main conversation I want to have with you is about cost of living, because I think that there is kind of a shift, or a kind of there is a mismatch between what the government is saying is happening with cost of living and what I'm hearing from seniors, based on what you guys are telling me about your expenses. And so I want to talk about that, because I have heard from a lot of you. And what I did was, compile all the messages that you guys have given me. And some of you have shared your costs, how much you are spending on things. And I think that the government saying that inflation is 2.6%, I don't think senior inflation is 2.6%. I think senior inflation is much higher than that. And so, what I want to hear from you is in the comment section, let me know what prices have gone up for you and by how much. Are you paying more for rent? Are you paying more for groceries? Are you paying more for electricity, for gas? What else has gone up and by how much? Because I think that a 2.7% increase in overall goods and services, I think, is much lower than what is actually happening when specifically it comes to seniors. Because I think that when it comes to seniors, there's specific costs that the government is not tracking as part of this inflation index that impacts seniors, that does not get measured. So whenever you get your Social Security cost of living adjustment, you always feel like you are behind, because the government is saying, you get a tiny increase, but then they hit you with the Medicare Part B premium, which is projected to go up by 11% next year. So I want to hear from you in the comment section. What do you what has gone up for you? What price increases are you facing, and by how much? Let me know in the comment section below. Now, there is one important announcement that I have, that I've been trying to get the attention of a lot of seniors, because I think some of you are in for a shock when this policy is implemented on September the 30th and your benefits are stopped because of it. So give me a few seconds. I'll explain what's happening with this. So if you or somebody you know is getting Social Security benefits by mail, meaning that they are getting benefits by check, you need to send this video to them and let them know that there are actions they need to take before September the 30th, 2025. Otherwise, their benefits are going to be stopped. President Trump issued an executive order that instructs the Social Security Administration to stop sending paper checks. And that policy is going to be in effect on September the 30th, 2025. So if you know somebody that's getting paper checks, especially older retirees that are still getting checks in the mail, they need to be alerted, because they have one or two options to take action. They can either go get a bank account and get their Social Security benefits sent to that bank account, or they can sign up for the Direct Express debit card. I did a whole video a few days ago explaining what the Direct Express debit card is. So go to the video library, you see that video. But essentially, the Direct Express debit card is a government debit card for receiving government benefits. It acts like a regular debit card, but you can only receive government benefits on it. So if for whatever reason you cannot get a bank account, then you can sign up for the Direct Express debit card and get your federal Social Security benefits through that. Now, here's the thing, these guys are not playing around. Starting September the 30th, they're going to stop your Social Security payments if you do not get direct deposit through a local bank or credit union or sign up for the Direct Express debit card. Now, it is going to take a little bit of time to get it all sorted out. So once you sign up for the bank account and you alert the Social Security Administration that you want direct deposit, it's going to take at least one cycle for them to do it. And so if you wait till the last minute to make the change, you are going to get in your own way and your benefit payment might not come in on time. And so it's important to know that starting September the 30th, you have to take action sooner if you want to avoid an interruption in your benefit payment. And I mean this because I think older seniors may probably be more um, impacted by this, than everybody else. Now, there are exemptions, but they've also changed how the exemptions are done. So if you or somebody you believe that they absolutely have to get paper checks for whatever reason, they can apply for a waiver. But now they've made it harder to get a waiver because previously, to get a waiver, you can apply through the Social Security office. You can go to your local Social Security office and tell them, hey, for all these reasons, I cannot get my Social Security check electronically. Maybe you don't know how to work, online banking, and you are afraid that you may compromise your account. And so you rather get the check in the mail and go cash it. You can go to the Social Security Administration office and get a waiver. That was what was happening previously. Now they have changed that rule. So you can no longer go to the Social Security Administration and get a waiver anymore. You have to go to the United States Treasury Department to get a waiver. So they've made it more complicated. They've made it harder. So essentially, the only people that can get a waiver are three categories of people. Number one, you have a mental impairment that prevents you from navigating online banking environments. Number two, where you live is so remote that it prevents you from accessing online banking facilities or accessing a bank facility. And number three, if for whatever reason you cannot get a Direct Express debit card because you've been suspended or it's been suspended. Those are the only three groups of people that can get a waiver. The only other group of people that are allowed to get paper checks is anybody that is age 104 and older. You heard it right. If you're 104 years old and older, you can continue to get paper checks. Everybody else, you have to get direct deposit. So essentially, these guys are serious about this. They mean what they're saying. They're going to cut off your benefit. So you have to take action soon. So I am going to, put together kind of a guide to help you figure out what you need to do once you sign up for your bank account, how you can reach out to the Social Security Administration and get this all sorted out way before September the 30th, 2025. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. And as usual, a lot of you have been sending me comments, statements about your frustrations with a lot of things that are happening. And so I am going to share a few of those on my screen with you. And I'm sharing it for you to know that I have been reading your comments and I want to hear from you. So if there's something that is really going on that you want to highlight, let me know and I will research the issue and then I will come in and share what I find with you. But a lot of your comments have been coming in and some of them are pretty drastic. So this person says, like, talking about the big beautiful bill, this doesn't help anyone who is poor and receiving benefits. We are all screwed. nothing for the people who need help the most. In fact, most of the poorest people will be getting less because of food stamp cuts and whatever else they can take from us. So this is a common complaint I have been seeing in my comments, that a lot of you are unhappy about what is happening with the big beautiful bill and the fact that it leaves out 40% of seniors with nothing. And I get it. If that has been your experience, I want to hear from you in the comments. But I'm also going to go through your comments right now in the live chat, and then I will see if there's something that I can answer. Uh, let's see. I'm going through the comments right now for the live to see. Okay, here we go. Let me show this one. Um, if I can get this to work. Hold on a second. All right, here we go. So this is from Jasmine right now in the comments. She says everything is going high. Utility bills has gone up, insurance has gone up, rent, groceries, gasoline, you name it, and now Medicare Part B premium. Yes, Medicare Part B premium, from the data I am seeing, is supposed to go up by 11%. I just saw that recently. It's such a high number that I want to look into it before, I make any comment about it. But that is the estimate. And here's somebody else. This is Donna. All renters took hits since the pandemic. I have an energy efficiency apartment and my rent is $850 and it goes up yearly. My food budget hasn't changed from last year. So the thing about rent is that if you're getting about $1,300 in Social Security benefit and you're getting $850 rent, a good chunk of your Social Security benefit is gone. So I am interested in how you're managing with such a, $850 in some places may be considered high, in some places may not be considered high. But the point is that the average Social Security benefit is 1908, $1,908. So even if you use that right now, half of your Social Security check on average is going to rent. And then from there, it's kind of like, okay, if half of my check is going towards rent, how am I going to survive? If you have a car and you have to, pay for a car, if you have car insurance, then that will probably together between your car payment and your insurance will probably be another $500. And so now you're left with about $350 to pay for groceries, to pay for electricity, to pay for gas, out of pocket cost, Medicare Part B premium, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just curious about how seniors are managing with this rising cost, um, and with this rising cost and everything that's happening. So if you are facing a similar situation, let me know. And then here is um, Tony saying Part B is going up to 205. That is what you heard. So that's actually, I mean, right now it's $184, I believe. So 205, that means that it's going up by about what, $20 maybe. So that may be high or may not be high for some people depending on where you are. So how do you cash your check if if you don't have a bank account? Well, good question. That's Jet. um, in some places you can cash. You can go to Walmart, and um, if it's a government check and you have an ID, you pay some fee, but you can cash check without a bank account. So there are check cashing places that will cash your check for a fee if it's a government check. So that is an option that people have. Um, let me go through the comments and see if there's anything. This is the live comment right now that I'm going through. So if you have any comment on anything, you can mention it in the live and I'll put it up. Let's go through. 600 increase in rent sounds like a readjustment. Let's see, my electricity bill. So let's look at this. So here's Laura. My electric and gas bill and my rent in the grocery has gone up, and my Social Security don't even cover my rent. Wow. So if your Social Security doesn't cover your rent, Laura Shepard, how are you managing? Is it another job that you have that is paying the rest? Because you're managing somehow. So I'm curious about whether you have another job, or whether you have a retirement account, or how are you managing if your rent is not even covered with your social security. So let me know in the comments, but I appreciate your comment. And then here is Tony Medford. Not a very big increase with housing costs going up. My rent went up $600 in the last 2 years. Actually, to be honest with you, one of the biggest things I have seen when it comes to seniors this year is rent increases. That is across the board. I am hearing a lot of people who have been hit by rent increases across the board and across the country. So that is um, that is pretty much consistent with what I'm seeing. And then this is another person, AB Clips, 3%. I make 973 a month. Wow, I can afford to buy nothing. I know. Social Security cost of living adjustment, I could talk about that all day. And my biggest problem with it is that, number one, it is too low. Number two, the calculation they are using is not realistic because it doesn't factor into cost of living that seniors and people with disability face. And number three, I think there should be a floor. There should be a 3.5% minimum that is set regardless of the year. And then in years where we have higher inflation, that they will then increase it more. But the fact that there are some years when there is zero cost of living adjustment, I think it's a tragedy. So what else? Here's another person. One of the other channels I watch says there's going to be 11.6% increase in premium for Medicare, so our Social Security COLA better be big. So I'm also hearing the 11.6%. That's why I mentioned it. That's what I heard earlier. So that's going to be a big problem, because if Medicare is going to go up by 11, and your Social Security, according to the experts, is being forecasted to go up by 2.6%, 2.7%, then that's going to be a real problem. And I think that I am hoping for at least a 3% increase. And I know that's probably nothing, but um, let's see here. All right. So if you have any comments, let me know in the comment section below. And I am glad that you're here hanging out with me on this Sunday evening. And as always, I like to talk about our partner, Chapter Medicare. You've probably heard me talk about it. And I talk about it on all my videos because Chapter has helped so many of you already. Over 2,000 of you have called the number you see on your screen or fill out the form, and you have gotten real relief. So if you are on Medicare, which I know most of you are, how do you know you're on the right plan? And why is that important? Whereas because in your lifetime, you are going to get more out of Medicare than out of Social Security. And that's why a lot of seniors don't know that Medicare will pay more money to you in benefits than Social Security will ever be. And so being in the right Medicare plan is important. And that's why I like to talk about our partner Chapter, because they exist to help you do just that, get into the right Medicare plan. So if you want to avoid having to deal with all the mess that comes with Medicare, and if you feel like you're not in the right plan, give them a call, because what they would do is that they would check to make sure that you are in the right plan. That's all they're going to do. And if you're not, they'll help you get into the right plan. So I'm going to put a form in the comment section, in the description to this video. Fill out the form because it's a Sunday, and they'll reach out to you tomorrow. The advice is free, it's unbiased, and these guys are legit. These are the people you'll be talking to when you call Chapter, and they are highly rated by the Better Business Bureau, and they can save you about $1,100 on your Medicare benefits. So give chapter a call and let them know that we sent you. So lastly, I just want to talk about just some things that you can expect in the coming months. I have gone through the big beautiful bill, the 10 the 1,000-page document, and I have created a guide that I'm going to be sharing with you guys soon that talks about what seniors can expect in the big beautiful bill. I'm really excited. It's almost done. We're going to be putting it up in the next couple of days, so look out for that. I am really glad to be spending this evening with you. I'm glad you watched this. If you like what you heard, do me a favor and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, so that more people will get to see this video and all the information that was shared today, including your important comments that were highlighted in this video. So if you're watching the recording of this video, then hit me up in the comments and share how you're managing in this crazy environment of high inflation, where prices of goods that have gone up never came down, but your cost of living adjustment continues to be so tiny. So thank you for hanging out with me this Sunday night, and I'll see you tomorrow.